How many games will the Mountaineers win this season in basketball? I'm going to make my predictions here today on Between the Eers. How are we doing, everyone? Schuyler Callihan here with another episode of Between the Eers. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button here on our page at West Virginia on SI every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have episodes of Between the Eers every Thursday, the Walk Thru GameDay Show, previewing that week's matchup, and of course, the Mountaineer Postgame Show immediately after the game. And going to switch it up to basketball here today because this is really the last opportunity I'm going to have just going off of our schedule where I'm going to be able to get this in. Tomorrow, we're going to get back into some football talk. Thursday, of course, the preview show. And then Sunday is going to be the morning after the football game. So this is really the last chance for me to get there. I guess I could have done it Tuesday morning, the day of the game. But instead, I'm going to go with now because I feel like we may be talking a little bit more about the football team next week. So, what did I think of the exhibition against Wheeling, and where do I think this team will ultimately end up? That's what we're going to talk about today. So, starting with the exhibition, I didn't get to watch it live. I was actually at a wedding, so I had, of course, if you saw me on Twitter, I was asking for updates live, but I did go back and rewatch it and came away with I'd say probably a lot of positives, but I mean, look, I'm not going to go too hard on a team that was, not playing or shooting their best ball, and that's just going to happen every now and then. So it's not like this team can't shoot it. I think they have plenty of guys that can do that and fill the cup up. And also, it's hard to get up for these games. It really is. I mean, I don't think people really understand the mentality of it, and you see it across the country too. It's not just here. Like, I mean, yeah, they win 80 to 54 and you blow them out. But I mean, if you really put the two teams in a real game situation, that thing probably gets way, way uglier than it actually did. But again, part of that's just not shooting the balls as well as you'd like. But so let's start with the good. I actually start with the bad because I think that's much quicker and we can get on to the good here because I don't want to spend too much time on it. So I want to get to the record prediction. The bad, I'd say probably free throw shooting, and it wasn't great, particularly from Harlon Obi. And I get it. He's the big guy. He went, I think, 3 of 7 was his number, which is still 20% lower than what he shot it for his career. So I'm not going to knock the team completely, but I mean, Harlan's got to be better. He's got to at least be a 60% shooter at very minimal. And you also had Chance Moore miss one. You had, I think DJ Thomas missed one or two. So the concerning thing for me was that the second half shooting was really, really concerning at the free throw line. You've got to get better. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was definitely a lower percentage. And when you get into Big 12 play, and when you get into some of these games where you're playing, let's say Ohio State or Wake Forest or Pitt, Clemson in the non-league, you've got to be able to put teams away. Obviously, this game was a blowout. You didn't really have to worry about that facet of it, but when you get to the charity stripe, you've got to cash in. You can't be a team that shoots 60 to 65% as a team. You got to shoot over 70%. And I think Ross Hodge knows that. The team knows that. They'll continue to improve and get better. There's way too many shooters on this team for me to think that's where they're going to live. So I don't know that it's a great deal of concern for me right now, but it's the only thing we've actually set our eyes on. So for that, that's probably one of the few bads, or the only negatives, I should say. Bads. What the hell am I talking about? It's Tuesday, still early in the week for me. Um, the only other thing that I would consider being poor would be just the sloppiness, and it's to be expected. It's only the second time that this group has played together, and you saw it very early on. That was the main theme of the tweets that I was, or the replies I was getting back to my tweet about the how the team was looking. It was just everybody was saying, "Oh, this team's sloppy, 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 sloppy," and then Went back and watched it, and sure enough, it was. But they were trying some different things, trying different lineups, and that's the game that you want to experiment because you can't really do it starting next Tuesday, even against Mount St. Mary's. Like you want to play your normal regular rotation and get those guys in a consistent rhythm. So that was the time to experiment. The 3-point shooting, not a huge concern. Look, they're going to miss shots. They're going to have nights where they're off. And if you have a night like that from Trace and Eaglestaff and Honor Huff, and they still go out and beat a team by nearly 30, I think you're going to be okay. So, not a huge concern. Jaden Forsyth, I was really impressed with. Came in, knocked down 3 or 4 attempts from deep. Think there could be something there. I don't know that he's going to be a complete piece of this rotation just yet. But I think early on he's going to have his opportunities, of course, because you're going to be a little short on guys with Chance Moore missing the first 5 games. I know he's not the same position, but Jackson Fields is going to miss the start of the season, expected to at least. So I'm not 100% ruling out Jaden Forsyth being a part of the rotation, but he's going to have his chances early on to prove his worth. And then lastly, Harlon Obi, really dominant, and I don't know how much to make out of it because he had a clear size advantage underneath. He was much stronger, much bigger than anything Wheeling had, and tried to throw at him. Even if it was a double team, he'd probably be bigger than the double team themselves. So the thing you can take away from it is the feet are legit. You know, Ross Hodges talked about this really since day one, that he's got great footwork, great ability to move, and you could see it. Like guys that are 7 foot, 265 pounds plus shouldn't move the way Harlan Obioha moves. So the fact that he was able to put that on display is certainly comforting. Knows that now we know he can run the floor. He's not, this big 260-pound guy that's just, jogging up the court and out of breath. He's somebody that's going to be able to run the floor and make an impact offensively and defensively, and apparently play a little perimeter defense, which was a nice sight. So that's my takeaways from the exhibition against Wheeling. As far as the record prediction, this is really hard to do. It's always hard to do. But when you have so many new guys, and it's essentially the entire roster besides Abe Oyedeer, and this was the same situation last year with DeVries flipping the roster. I I think this group is deeper than what last year's team was in terms of the ability to score the ball. It was the Javon Small show last year, and every now and then you might get Joe Yesufu hitting a couple shots. You might get, Toby Akani helping you out. You might get this guy and that guy involved, but in large part, it was Javon Small, or you had to really muck it up and play some really damn good defense. This year, I think you've got, really 5 capable scorers in your starting lineup. You really do. Harlan can score underneath. Brennan Lorient, really good driving the ball. He's super athletic, can make shots, hit some jumpers. Probably not going to step out and hit a lot of threes, but he can score it. Jasper Floyd, your point guard, not going to be a huge scorer, but he can. He can get downhill. He can make shots. And then obviously Honor Huff and Trace and Eaglestaff, those two guys we've already talked about, they're going to fill it up a bunch. But then off the bench, like when you get Chance Moore back, he's another guy. Morris Ugasuk is another guy that can step in and make shots. You've got Jackson Fields, whenever he returns, can be somebody that can be a versatile piece on the offensive end. So you're going to have guys that can shoot the ball and fill it up. Now the question is, can they defend at a NCAA tournament level? I still think the jury's out on that. But with Ross Hodge and his defensive background, his ability to get the most out of guys on that end of the floor, I think you're probably in a good spot. It's not going to be a polished product right out of the gate. It's going to be something that's going to have to get better over the course of time. But he's always hung his hat on the defensive end. And to play for him, you've got to be able to play defense. You're Tracy Eaglestaff and Honor Huff, as good as they are offensively, he's gonna have to really challenge them defensively to step their game up. They're not great defenders. I think Honor's probably a little bit further along than Trayson, but I mean, Trayson has the length. He may not have the strength, but he has the length to be able to make an impact, and he's got to. And I think they'll learn that as the first month of the season comes and goes. They're going to face some guys that like Pitt and Ohio State and some of those other big time schools where they're going to have to make an impact on that end. And hopefully you can learn that while winning instead of losing, but you also learn from your losses as well. But to get to the matter here, I don't want to push this along any further. I'm going to go. They're going to play 31 games. We don't know who they're going to play in that second game of the Charleston MTE, but I'm going to say 17-14. And I think the ceiling, that's probably the most realistic record. I think your ceiling, probably a couple more games, maybe get to 19-12. I mean, that's just, it's really hard to get to that level of success in year one because the Big 12 is just so good. And winning on the road in the Big 12 is just incredibly difficult. You're going to have teams coming to Morgantown that are going to be tough to beat, and you're going to have some challenges in the non-conference. If you come out of non-conference play with 2 or 3 losses, you're not giving yourself a ton of wiggle room in Big 12 play to be able to put yourself in position to make the tournament. So I'm going to go 17-14. I think we're going to see a team that is pretty much competitive in every game. With the shooters that they have, it's going to be hard to see them just getting blown out. I mean, it's going to happen at some point in time. Every team in the country, for the most part, is going to experience a double-digit loss. So it's going to happen. But it's not going to be where you're seeing it in football where it's just every game where every loss that they have is just a blowout. I don't expect that whatsoever. I think this is a team that's going to be able to compete, scrap, fight, be in every game late, and they're going to be somebody that probably upsets a couple of top 25 teams. So when you have those guys that can get red hot at any moment, I mean, that's definitely a luxury to have, and it's going to be something that can be a formula to winning some of those upsets or to winning some of those big games. So I want to go 17-14. We're going to release our prediction article at some point this week. I don't know exactly how we'll structure it. I don't know if we'll list the wins and losses. We'll figure that out at some point, but I'll go more in depth on that later in the week, and you can kind of understand why I'm going 17-14. I kind of explained it, but we'll go into it a little bit more later this week. So that's going to do it for me here today. We've got a lot of football to get into. We've got Rich Rodriguez press conference coming up here in just a bit, so got to get ready for that. And we'll get back at the football side of things tomorrow. I kind of have an idea what we'll talk about, but there's a couple of different topics tossing around in my head. So back in the football space tomorrow. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on the page at West Virginia on SI, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on Between Eers.